Great day and welcome to the Hey Honey podcast, the space for all conversations. I'm your host, Ashley Wright, and honeys, today I want to talk to you about the art of starting over. We have found ourselves right at the beginning of football season, so I found myself watching a little ESPN, more specifically the Pat McAfee show. And as I was sitting and talking to my honey about the show, he's like, yeah, I think Pat got his start like on YouTube or maybe some other network before he officially joined ESPN. So that got me to thinking. Something inside of me was like, wow, how dope. Right? You have this show that you started because you're passionate about something, you're interested in something, you relate to it. And then all of a sudden, right, because of your consistent action, you now have this whole entire show that was probably something you never, ever dreamed of. And in that exact moment, I told my honey, I'm going to do a podcast episode today. So this podcast episode, y'all, be it not sponsored, it is very much inspired by Pat McAfee and his desire to just simply share more of himself with the world through the lens of sports. Now, honeys, I'm nobody's sports fanatic. Now, I'll watch a good game or two. I'll even go. I'll cheer the people on. But that is not my area of expertise whatsoever. But while in that same moment, I'm watching, I'm like, oh, wow, that's so admirable. And then something inside of me was like, well, I don't want to just admire what someone else has created from afar. Like, I want to live in my own desires as well. My desire is to have this podcast, the Hey Honey podcast, amongst other things. So one thing that I want for us to anchor ourselves in for this particular episode is the different lies that our brains can tell us. Like, oh, that's for everyone else, but it's not for me. And honey, if I can be honest, because I think I can, I mean, it's my show. I guess I can be honest. But if I can be honest, I've had that thought over and over again. Anything that we think continuously is going to become a belief. So if I started to believe, oh, that's for everyone else and not for Ashley, then this podcast would not exist, right? My business would not exist. But it goes beyond that. Those things exist, but are they reaching their fullest potential right now? The fullest potential they can reach right now? My question, that's the question. My answer to that would be no, they aren't. And that's because, in my own opinion, I am not taking consistent action. Now, that action doesn't have to be every single day. I am not a subscriber to hustle and grind until you fall out and pass out. No, I'm not doing that. But it is a matter of where does the consistent action, like what's the motivating factor behind that? How do you accomplish that? And simply put, it's accomplished in those small steps. So the fact that I chose today, I made a decision today, I did not delay. I decided to act on it. Now that works in some areas of life, honey, but it doesn't work everywhere. But for today, me making that declaration and me having that thing on the inside of like, wow, here's all these goals, all the aspirations, all the dreams, all the desires, right? They're like right here. Here's all the things. And then here's more of what reality is, right? In reality, your dreams and stuff can be based in reality, but you also get to be a bit delusional. But in order for those two to bridge together, there has to be like those teeny tiny micro steps, those baby steps. So me choosing to sit here right now, today, right, at this random time to say, hey, I'm going to record an episode today, and I wasn't going to let anything get in the way of that. And I also wasn't going to let myself talk me out of it. I wanted to produce something today. I had this thing on my mind, and so I wanted to put it out into the world. And honestly, not even just for you all to consume, but for me to create. We spend so much time consuming, and I think that's where more of the lower level thinking at times, or even being self-defeated, I think that's where that comes in, because we're looking at what everyone else is creating, that we don't think about the inner creative that we have, right? That needs to be nourished. She's there, he's there, they're there. It's just a matter of you pouring into that versus solely consuming. So just like I sat here today and decided that I didn't just want to admire, but that I wanted to live out my own desires, the same is true for you. And honey, you can't tell me otherwise. Try to tell me. Exactly, because you can't. You have certain things that are literally like keeping you up at night. Things that are burning on the inside of you that you're just like, oh my gosh. And even if you don't know, let me also say this, even if you don't know the specific thing, right? You know that there's more. You know there's something different. You know that there's something else that you want to try out. It doesn't mean you're going to be proficient at it. It doesn't mean it's going to be the one thing that gets you to where you want to be, but it's going to be a step. And that is what the whole thing is about. It's about taking smaller steps that get you closer to where it is you desire to be. Okay. So that's my encouragement for the day. Try the thing, take one step at a time, and just decide to do it. And I know that so many people are like, oh, it's consistent action, just decide. But honestly, like I have seen and I'm learning in my own life, there are moments and times where my brain simply doesn't want to or doesn't allow for me to produce at the rate or to produce as consistently as I want, right? So it's all about, for me, I changed what productivity meant. I changed the understanding of productivity. So for me, productivity sometimes, again, is doing things right in the moment, right when it feels good, right when I'm flowing. Other times it's like taking smaller steps and saying, hey, if I want to do something second quarter of next year, what small things can I do right now that lead up to that? Versus waiting until second quarter of next year to say, oh, let me do this, right? On that hamster wheel, so to speak, of just chasing the thing and doing the thing, but not seeing real, like true, actual, authentic, concrete results. And that got boring. It gets exhausting, and you start to think, for me at least, oh my gosh, like I'm failing at this. And I'll save some of that like for later in the episode, but a life update. So let's see. And honey, if you're new here, I love conversing. I love questions. I love conversations. And so this whole entire podcast is literally based in that, and me just letting myself have conversations about whatever's on my mind, all those different things. So a life update. About 9 months ago, I was laid off from my job. I know, honey, I'm a part of the other 300,000 Black women out here. But in that, I took that as an opportunity. I really sought God, and I didn't have like oh my gosh, let me apply for full-time work. Let me do X, Y, or Z. But instead it was like, hey, how can I pour into my business? Like, what does this look like? And so it looks a few different ways right now of me I've created the Journaling Circle, which is a journaling club with a social twist. And so we meet several times throughout the month for that space of release and reflection and just community. I found that so many people are either brand new to Charlotte, North Carolina, or are just reestablishing like their friend groups, or looking for different things to do and different things to try, and feeling safe and like confident and comfortable doing that. And so I have created the Journaling Circle as of this year. It is membership based. So you can find out more information down in the description. But so that has launched. Over on TikTok, I also started a mini series about just my life from the moment of being laid off to now what my focus is. So I talk over there a lot about how my focus is to I went from making $105,000 to bringing in about $600 in unemployment to $0, zero pesos, zero. However you want to look at it. $0. But in that, wanting for it to be that I challenge myself and let myself take advantage of this opportunity of like, hey, what does it look like to let people into my life? Different ways I'm going to let myself enjoy life, and just invite other people along for the fun of it. So that's like another life update of really, even with this podcast episode, what does it look like to not only bet on yourself, but to like believe in yourself, right? To think about yourself differently. So if you categorize yourself, oh, I'm boring, no one's interested in this, I don't have anything to talk about, you as an individual person already have so much you can offer out to the world. So those are the conversations that I was letting myself have with myself, because I found that a lot of what I was thinking, of course, was blocking me from actually producing, actually showing up, all those different things. So a quick little recap: laid off in January, started a series on TikTok from going from $105,000 a year to $600 in unemployment to $0, while also launching the Journaling Circle. And even with that, the thoughts after you put yourself out there, after you've made the announcements and you're having more of the conversations, it's also the idea of like settling into, is this failing? Am I failing? Like, what's happening? Why is this not larger than what it could be? Like, I thought there'd be more traction, like all of those different things. And so I have found that becoming like a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, has really shown me some of those core beliefs, right, that rise to the surface, but it also shows like different ways to navigate those. It doesn't mean just quit. It doesn't mean throw in the towel, right, because I'm not doing that. But it's one of those things of, it helps me to remember it is so important to take care of your mind. Oh, another major update. I bought a house in November, and then was laid off in January, and that's all fine and good. And so bit by bit, I've allowed for myself to find small things I can do around the house, small little decor items that I can do, and just having fun with that. I have found that I am probably happiest and most enthused when I'm creating something, when I am taking a blank wall and adding an element to it, right? And so I had a lot of art and some wallpaper from my previous apartment, and I'm just letting myself put stuff up and doing it in a way that feels good to me. I'm learning to slow down, right? Learning to pace myself with it, but letting my creativity just really roam. And it has been so settling and so nurturing when I let it be. Because you ever have a vision and it's like, it's just not coming together the way that you want for it to come together, but such is life, right? But allow for it to be that you let yourself continue to just like nurture that, and just to not put pressure on it, right? That's the other thing. I'm not I'm letting myself not apply pressure to me, to the business, to those things around me, because in due time, right? In due time, as long as my intentions are pure and as long as I'm actively working towards what I believe I'm supposed to be working towards, it all balances out. So those are the updates for my life. And honestly, I would love just to make sure I connect those things just back to the importance of taking action. I could have just chosen to say, hey, you know what? January, laid off, let me just not do anything at all, because mentally it takes you to a certain space, right? You have to fully rely on yourself. You're your sole provider. There's no money coming in. The money that is coming in from unemployment is just not enough. And it's also like you're expected to create something else and show up or submit application after application after application to get rejected, to get denied, all of those different things. And so I think, again, the importance of taking care of your mind in that process and then redefining what productivity is. So for me, productivity was just looking on Pinterest, right? Productivity was thinking through events and brainstorming, but making sure that wasn't something I let myself get overly consumed in and day out. And so for me, it's like, cool, there's all these actions I can take, doing this podcast, showing up on TikTok, showing up consistently in my weekly newsletter. And yes, go ahead and subscribe below. But yes, like, what does that look like? And so to come out of hiding is also very fearful, because it's like, okay, once I'm out of hiding, then what? What's the expectation going to be? How then do I even want to show up? And so sometimes you can't even let yourself think about that too much, because then it becomes a barrier and then you go back into inaction, versus it being, hey, this is the thing I'm going to try. I'm going to try it for X amount of time and I'm just going to ride the wave. I'm going to make adjustments as I go along, but this is the one thing that I'm committed to showing up for, and I'm no longer choosing to hide. And with that, I think this is a great time for some reflective journaling prompts. Prompt number 1, where in my life have I been admiring instead of acting? I'm just the messenger, and the creator of it. I want for you to really get your desire in your brain. What is that thing where you're like, oh my gosh, it's been X number of months, X number of years. This is something I genuinely desire, something I truly and sincerely want. Get that in your mind right now. Just let yourself, whatever the first thing is that comes to your mind, just let yourself really think about that. Let yourself feel it. You got it? And now just ask yourself, what's one small step that I can take that gets me closer to having what I desire? That gets my desire in my hand. It doesn't mean it pops up in your hand, but what's the one step that you can take that gets you closer to actually being in the same space as that desire? All right, that completes this episode of the Hey Honey podcast, a space for all conversations. Y'all, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for allowing for my voice to be louder than your own voice of fear at times, even allowing for it to be that you borrow from my belief, right? I'm also choosing to believe for you. If you want some more encouragement, honey, tune in for the next episode, okay? Because we're going to actually be diving a little bit more into what does it mean to take on the identity of someone who's worthy of the success, of the desires that you have? Because the reality is, honey, you don't think you're worthy. There's no true barrier in between you going from here to there. Wherever you're there is. The only thing that's there is mindset and a belief about what you are worthy of receiving, what you're worthy of accomplishing. And I'm leaving it at that. Go do your journaling, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.